This is an interactive presentation. That means that I am asking you to go to this web page, www.menti.com, and to use the code. Why? Because I'm going to ask you some questions, and I will get back here the result. And this will adapt the presentation to the level of the audience to tell more or less stories about the DDoS. Thanks, in the first place, to the organizer of this marvelous meeting, which allowed me to give the presentation. And the first thing is that is a question to start. So introduce the code, and you will get a number and so on. To get one question to see if you are too much technical or not too much technical in this security war. 25, more or less. Going to get to the 20, 21. Let's go and you follow. The question is, it will be quite fast, and now it's, who is Professor Falken? Who knows who is Professor Falken? There are some people knows, but you need to reply. And there is one time of 1 second to see. It can be interesting to see the reply. Yes, we have a lot of people that don't know about that. It's not a Pokemon, or it's not a... It's from our old TV, war games, Juegos de Guerra in Spanish, that was very old and very nice, the one instructor and so on. So this is more or less all the thing of the question. But the second question, and this is not a quest, but it's only to get information, is if you know what is first, because this is the first technical colloquium. So do you know what is first? It's good that a lot of people here are first member, and also that they don't know that they are first member, but you're not first member, but you're a member of first, so it's quite different. But I think that some of you doesn't know what is first. But as you say that you know, I am going to talk about first. I'm sorry for the 3 people that know what is first. You can look in the web page to see. The thing is that I work for the TIRIS, that is the Spanish Academic and Research Network, blah, 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 blah. In the web page there is a lot of information. But the main point of the TIRIS, apart from that we were one of the first ISP in Spain, we were the first IP network in Spain, is that we interconnect all the universities, all the research centers in Spain, and we have our own capacity of network with dark fiber that connect all the network. That also means that we have a lot of capacity, and we connect not only the Basque University here, but a lot of the research centers, and also some of the let's say schools. And now we are going to grow to 100 gigabits. So we have a lot of DDoS, not only by the student, but also because we have some part of the government inside. So it's the thing that we are taking care of the DDoS. And the other thing is that, do you remember what internet? Because some people are young, some people are old. So what was your first internet memory? You remember internet? With the modem, it's nice. Some people remember with the modem, some people, oh, good. So that's quite interesting about the number of people that know of using mode, because all the DDoS and all the problems is the same that we had long time ago. We will see about that. And what is the sector? You work for the administration, for the universities, for public government, for a company, and so on. This is mostly to adapt the question. Okay, nice. Good. A lot of people working in the security industry, and there are few students here. Nice. The thing is Yes, is that for us, a DDoS, and this is the Wikipedia webpage, is mostly a source of the resource of something. This is a DOS, denial of service attack, usually. Mostly, the first D in DDoS means that it's distributed. So it usually means that it's from different sources, not only from one, and it's more difficult to defend. Also, let's see, no, put here. Also, it's any kind of resource. Most of the time, it's bandwidth. Is that all your connection is full. That it was happening in the first time with the modems, that you try to download something and you wait a lot because there was too much. The line was small. But there was a lot of different kind of attack. A lot of DDoS attack that doesn't mean exhausting the bandwidth of the connection. That can be exhausting the firewall policy or the web server capacity and so on. There is a lot of DDoS, not only the nice, the big one that people listen in the news about 100 terabytes, 1,000 terabytes and whatever. It's not the kind of DDoS. That doesn't mean that your bandwidth is saturated, but also perhaps block the source. And distributed because mostly, most of the time, if you are being attacked only for 1 or 2 or 3 IP address, you can block in the firewall, you can block in the router, you can drop the traffic from these IPs, and you are protected. So distributed means that came from a lot of sources, and you cannot block individually the source. And why us at the IRIS as an ISP that, okay, we don't get money, but most of the ISPs, why they care about DDoS? Mostly for the collateral damage. Collateral damage means that we usually have one connection for more than one organization at the same time. If the connection of the organization is blocked, is saturated, it is exhausted, also other things can be exhausted. Perhaps someone is attacking one university, but also there is one hospital behind them or close to them in the same line. So we need to take care of not protecting not only this university, but also the other people in the network. So that is why we take about care and mitigate. And I say mitigate most of the time because there is one is the term that is mostly used in the DDoS information. It's not a cure, it's not a solution, it's not a silver bullet that can fix all your problems. That usually is the thing that you say that people look in security. Mitigation is mostly one remediation that solves some part of the problem, but not at all. It's like if you cut your hand because you get some problem, but you get not gangrena. That is the kind of thing of mitigation means. So that's most of the time it means that perhaps you get some problems. The DDoS started a long time ago. There was a DDoS attacks before the 2001. There was DDoS attacks, but usually there was congestion attack because most of the lines were usually congested without attacks. In those before 2001, most of the line, most of the ISPs has problem to connect to North America, and usually the bandwidth were saturated. So it was quite difficult to analyze if you have a DDoS or only was normal traffic that it comes. Also in 2006, there was a lot, they were when the botnets started. Botnets that usually were Unix server and later end user, Windows, Linux, compromised and used it to launch DDoS attacks. Some of the things were, most of the action of the FSIR and the security team were not about mitigation, were about contacting the source of the attack. Because most of the time, the only thing that you can act is, please, other ISPs, block the traffic to this site because I can be DDoSed. But you cannot have real tools to mitigate the problem. Then there was a lot of products that they started to being able to clean the traffic. Then when all DDoS attacks started, we started mostly in 2003, 2014 to provide some kind of cleaning house, clean repository of things for our people, and we started to analyze prevention countermeasures in case of DDoS. If we know that university can be DDoSed, we can apply some filter before the router to avoid that they receive too much traffic. But there was filtering prevention that it was quite difficult. They need to contact us, we need to apply filtering and so on. And last year we get a new equipment with more and more filtering capacities to mitigate and also allow the university directly to order mitigation and not contact our shop. The thing that at the beginning, that was the thing about the hacking and so on, 10, 15 years ago, that okay, DDoS was a game. The key that attacked the eBay and Amazon in 2004 were one key that attacked a lot, launched, he produced some script to launch DDoS attacks, but was not for money. Then we have all the things in 2014 and so on, with all the economic crisis, there was a lot of hacking activities and so on. And this was one example of the tool that we used in 2010 more or less to detect and analyze a DDoS attack. Actually, we only got a big traffic increase from 10 to 14 gigabytes of traffic that obviously the client that was being attacked has only a 1 gigabit line. So he was saturated, but not only the client, also the other people that were behind in the same line, in the same connection point, were also saturated by the attack. So we need to apply filtering to block the traffic. That is one example of what is a volumetric attack and a non-volumetric attack. The green is the attack. If you see the number of gigabytes in the line, that it was a 10 gigabyte line, they were not saturated, but the firewall was blocked. Why? Because he received about 350,000 connections per second. New connection that the firewall need to handle and so on. And the firewall was not prepared to get all the connection. So the result that was exhausted was not the bandwidth of the connection, but the result of the firewall that tried to analyze and launch new connection process. So that was the problem. And one thing that can ask you is if you have been victim of DDoS lately. Yes, sir. So now people joke about the don't know, but the thing is, how do you detect that you are victim of a DDoS? What are your tools that you use to say, okay, I have been victim of a DDoS? And this is, okay, about half of the people have not detected the DDoS by themselves. They got a telephone call from one user saying, okay, something is not working, and it was a DDoS attack, or someone contacted you and tell, okay, you have been victim of a DDoS attack. So you are not being the one that detected the DDoS attack. Something happened that, okay, you started to analyze why the web server is not working fine, or we are not getting too much connection. And then you detect that the bandwidth is saturated because you have been in this being victim of a DDoS attack. Sometimes we have a need to talk, to call the customer and say, okay, do you have any network problem? Yes, we have a problem currently now. Yes, we know you are victim of a DDoS attack. We have applied some filtering, we are blocking the traffic, but we can only block the traffic that are from us, from Red Iris. If you have another connection with other ISP, you need to talk with the ISP and ask to fix the problem. And they say, oh, we don't know. We already know that the internet was not working. So that is obviously you have been DDoSed. So what we need to think to prevent the DDoS? The first thing is obviously plan in advance. You cannot wait until you have a DDoS to start preventing the DDoS. And it's to think what do you need to protect. Usually you say, okay, this is normal. No, it's not normal. A lot of people doesn't know what is the important thing to protect. And they think that the web service is important, but then they have all the backend also in the same lane, and that they need, this is the thing that need to be protected. What are the critical services? What are the risks? Because perhaps the thing is not if we get DDoSed, we still can work and operate because we have another line that connects to Fabric and so on, or obviously if the connection is broken, we need to get another connection or see what happens. Another thing is what other organizations are doing with the same problem. Talk with them in forums and so on. Not only at the security level, but another thing, okay? The other thing is uptime, system and network information. Most of the people, we were used to get some information of the network, but not all. Trying to connect, okay, what is the traffic on the interface, but not what is that gives me all the information that you can provide me to analyze after that. If you don't have information, if you don't know what is the bus lane of traffic, you cannot detect what is a DDoS or not. And then obviously implement the solution. Put the thing that can prevent the DDoS. That can be isolate network, have a different connection for your server and for your backend or for your user, have different ISPs that you can load balance the traffic, monitor all the system to get all the information, to get when there is a big increase of traffic or a big increase in the load of the server, have some local DDoS prevention, because there are some DDoS that can be prevented without going outside, and obviously at least have the technical contact of your ISP. If you have a problem and you only have the commercial contact of your ISP, you are dead, because you need to phone, you need to get information, and the DDoS is running. You need to know which to phone in the minute one that you detected that you have been DDoSed. And obviously you can rent some DDoS mitigation. And the thing is, how big is your network? You have a small connection, big connection? I don't know. The thing is they provide, okay, small connection, ADSL, up to 1 gigabit line, 10 gigabit line, different. I will replay the question at the end, if we have time. So we have, let's say, two different kinds. Big connection are getting low, okay, that's nice. Moving ahead. The thing is that the solution that you can use are different, and we will see later. 10 GB. We'll see later, because let's say that at the end the DDoS happen. You can have 10 GB, 1000 GB, whatever, that at the end you can get saturated and you need to phone outside to get the thing. What is the fourth thing that the ISPs usually can do? Some of them are more featured than others, but for prevention is that we can do. The first thing is the black hole. Black hole is the first thing that some ISPs do. That usually means that you have been DDoSed to your web server, they shut down your web server. Why? Because if they block the traffic to your web server. All the traffic goes to this black hole and nothing there reach. So the DDoS is effective, yes, but perhaps the DDoS is, again, the server is not the critical thing. We had some time that we get DDoS against the web server of some department in one university, and this is blocking all the traffic to the university. So we shut down, we send the traffic of this web server to the black hole, and the rest of the traffic can flow. So we mitigate the problem. We cut some part of the harm, but the people is live. Also, some hosting did this kind of thing. They host one server or of some company, and they prefer to lose the client, cutting the traffic, that have all the traffic shut down. The other thing is the cloud provider mitigation. Usually, I cannot say name, but you only need to look for cloud mitigation, and you get a lot of things. All this kind of thing usually is in one external place in a cloud. The big problem is that they require two things. One, they can mitigate in the /24 that I asked before, because in internet all the BGP traffic is at least routed by /24. So if you want to mitigate, you need to send all your /24 traffic to the cloud provider. And this can be also difficult if you have problems. I left the hand. And the other thing is that you use the IP address of the cloud provider, not your own IP address, but other things. Because most of the thing that happen is that all the traffic from internet of the attacks go to this cloud provider, they clean the traffic, and they use a gray tunnel or other protocol, but it's mostly gray, the one that they use to send you the traffic inside. Problem with that is obviously if the hacker or the attacker knows the IP of you, they can also attack you directly. So you need to use another thing, you need to have other IPs. And the other thing is that this produces asymmetric traffic because one traffic came from there, but you go the traffic by other IPs. So it can be detected outside and people can complain, and sometimes you can have problems. And the other thing is that you in your ISP, most of the ISP in Spain provide some kind of mitigation on the ISP. That means that as this is internally to the ISP, the traffic, you can route only the IP address that is being attacked to the clean machines, not all the /24. So usually only the incoming traffic is mitigated. So you cannot block, let's say, attack like an SQL injection to analyze if the attack has been successful or is sending traffic back. But most of the attack can be prevented at this, in this class server. Only the customer traffic goes directly to the other traffic goes directly to the customer. So the SP is not receiving all the traffic of the customer, but they are receiving but not moving to the cleaning center of the traffic, only the one of the IP. So is, let's say, less intrusive. But the other thing that happens is that the ISP can only clean the traffic that came there. For example, if some people has one BGP session with two different providers, and you are applying mitigation in one of the provider, the traffic that came from the other provider is not being mitigated. You need to use BGP or shut down the connection to send the traffic to the cloud provider, to the mitigation provider, to get all the traffic in this moment. Another technique that is starting to be used in the ISPs, that in fact is used in most of the cleaning provider of site, is FlowSpec. FlowSpec is a technology to send filtering rules to the router in the backbone without needing to make configuration. Only using BGP, you send an announcement, and using the announcement, and the traffic is blocked or filtered or rate limit or redirected. So you can start sending, okay, I have a DDoS attack using NTP or using DNS. I can reduce and put a limit, a rate limit in the amount of traffic that is going to flow in my backbone. And the first time that one packet arrives to the router is dropped directly and doesn't arrive to the rest of the place, so it's quite clean. The big problem is that also the filter can be exported to other ISPs, so you can propagate the filter in internet. In fact, there are some protocols to allow this kind of thing. There's some draft in the IETF about how to propagate the filter and exchange information between the ISPs, but obviously I suppose that it will be not open to all, but will be like a customer service from the ISPs. And also the good thing is that it's quite fast and doesn't produce a lot in the routers. It's very good. And now, some question to see if you are being able to, and we finish. To see if you are listening or at least notes about the presentation. We are finished. Okay. Obviously, brute force logic can be protected. The only thing that cannot be protected is the traffic saturation. The other can be protected. You can apply firewall rules, you can drop the SIM packet, you can block the SQL and so on. And the other question, yeah, I think that we have 2 more questions and we finish. No, I'm not fine-grained because you cannot analyze all the traffic, only the incoming traffic, so you cannot detect the back traffic. And I don't know, that is the only thing. Who was win? That seems to be Dr. Centipede. He's the one that got the question. Congratulations. And I don't know, it's only for reflection, are you better prepared or not after the speak or not? And I think that you can, if you have time, if you have any question, I can try to check.
There is any question for him?
A moment.
Yeah, Francisco, regarding DDoS attacks, I have a question for you. I don't know if how it's possible to detect the origin of denial of service attacks. So this is something that sometimes is difficult. I don't know if there is something that can help us.
The real origin,
yeah, the real,
or the machines that are attacking?
No, the real one.
That is the threat intelligence part of the security, is not the DDoS mitigation. Yeah. Because if you have a botnet that you pay for renting and so on, you cannot see who is behind paying the Bitcoin to launch the attack. You will only detect the IP address that is sending traffic.
Yeah.
It can be compromised IP address, but also can be vulnerable NTP server or DNS or normal DNS. So you need to make the typical incident tracking analysis. If you analyze the DDoS and see that is, for example, using normal DNS, is because some compromised machine are making the queries to the DNS, contact the owner of the machines and get the information back.
Yeah.
If not, directly relate to the mitigation part.